Hello, friends of the internet. Welcome to General Nerdcast, episode number 65. Today is Friday, and it's Fun Fact Friday with Taylor.
Yeah.
And guest starring Alice. I don't know if you guys can actually see her. She might be behind Taylor's picture, but Alice is here, and she's talking and saying hi. So,
Yep.
Baby's here. She's listening to everybody talk, and we're just going to do it.
Yeah.
We're here. We're going to do the thing. Hi, Monkey.
She says hello.
Just so you guys know, we're recording at a different time than we typically record, so things are a bit different. I was in a tournament this weekend, so we couldn't record on the usual date that we would. So this is a little late, not only in the week but in the evening. So
Yes,
you know,
both things.
family,
Both of those things are
family
true.
life. Yeah.
So, we're doing it. We're doing the thing.
And now it's
and...
just like a thing, which is adorable.
Yeah. Hi. Today we're going to talk to you about some generally nerdy things. Today we're going to talk about our favorite TV series story narratives. Is that
Pretty much.
Okay.
Hi.
There's going to be a lot of... Are you just going to say hi the whole time?
Yeah, she's just going to keep saying hi to everybody, so every time she says hi, I expect the audience to say hi back.
Hi.
All right. Well, then, who wants to get us started?
I guess I can start.
Well,
Unless you want to start, Taylor.
Sorry. I was just going to clear something up. I know that our episodes are called Fun Fact Friday with Taylor, and we've kind of been deviating from that path in terms of like us giving actual statistics about things. But
Hi.
I kind of feel like our main focus right now is to really talk about things that we're truly passionate about, while
Yeah.
still incorporating some facts to try to broaden our audience's exposure to things like this, stuff that we're really interested in. So although it's not like the first couple episodes where it was like, this are how many games, this is how many games were sold and the amount of money made, we're still talking about stuff that we feel is relevant to you guys in case you haven't explored the same things that we have. So while we kind of go down that path, please give us feedback. Is this the kind of content that you like in this, trio when we talk about things like this? Or would you like it to be more linear?
Hi.
There's facts about every single thing that's going on.
rip my earbud
Because
out.
really, at the end of the day, we're here to make content for you guys.
Okay, sit on the table.
Yeah,
That's okay.
so-
And Alice. And Alice.
And Alice, yeah.
Go ahead and sit on the table. That's fine.
All right.
Do whatever you're going to do. Be a baby.
So,
I can't watch this episode when it releases. Just to see what's going
she'll be all over the place.
Here, do you want to listen to Taylor? You gotta,
So
you
yeah,
gotta-
we'll touch on facts. We'll get back into more of the fact stuff eventually, but right now we're just kind of touching on the stuff that we like.
no yelling, okay?
But yeah, I guess I'll get started. I think one of my favorite stories and narratives is actually, even though I haven't finished the entire series and I'm way behind on that since it's been over for years, but is Dexter. I just found it intense and is different from almost any other story I've experienced through shows. I think a lot of the shows I watch are never that in depth in story. They're all just kind of like random episodes here and there, or just
Right.
it jumps off to this and then it vaguely touches on the story throughout the episode. So I just like the way that he can't remember the early years of his life until he experiences short little things every now and then. And the
all
fact-
the flashbacks he has with his dad.
yeah, those are really cool, and like his perception of his alter egos through the people he's just talking to that pop up all the time. I think the really intense ones are like when his brother pops back up like every now and then, and he starts talking to him when he's feeling really emotional or really tense or whatnot. Those ones are. I like those ones a lot. I'm sad there wasn't more of his brother later on, like in all of the seasons. But
How many seasons are there?
I think
Six?
there's 8. I'm watching.
He doesn't say 6 to 8, somewhere
Yeah.
around there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's at least 8. I know I'm in season 7. I'm like halfway through, so I'm really close to finishing. But
One month.
I keep on.
Because I stopped watching that I think around the 4th season.
Yeah.
Never watched it.
Not because I lost interest, but just because at that time my living situation changed where I didn't have access to it. But
Hi.
yeah, Dexter was one of those series where they, after like the first seasons, they kind of knew that they were into a gold mine, so they were able to stretch out information within each episode, where you get like a little bit here and a little bit there, and so being like, okay, we need to tell our entire story within the next, season or two, because we're going to lose, our funding or whatever. So, yeah, from what I saw of Dexter, it was really, really, really well done. Though, I can't really stand his sister. I felt like the character, that she had to play and like her personality was just so repetitive.
It was repetitive, and she's hit and miss. I like her better in some seasons than other ones, but I think she gets better throughout the show. Although right now, I think I'm in that midsection of I don't know whether I'm on her side or if I think she's just being a little crazy. But then again, I'm all for Dexter's side activities and everything on what he's doing.
You know how it ends?
I don't know how it ends, and I'm keeping myself
You're
from looking around.
Wow, that's good.
What?
He said you're spoiler.
I said, so you're spoiler free.
Yeah. Yeah, I have no idea how it ends, and I really don't want to find out before I watch it. So I know from what people have said in the past that people aren't happy with the ending, but that's the length of what I know on the ending. So
that's the length of what I know about the whole show. What you just said is like the length of I know about the show. I never watched it. I haven't had real cable in years. I've just done like internet, like Netflix, Hulu, and stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, if it's not on there, I haven't seen it. And by the time that it would be on there, I just really didn't care enough to want to go back and watch it. So
that's fair. I never actually watched it on cable at all. It was all on. Well, I guess my buddy's cable at his house back when we were in high school. No. But I've bought seasons on DVDs, and then I've just watched it online on like I think Hulu or something, or I don't even remember where I watched it. I know I've watched. Well, they added most of it up. I think they added all of it on Netflix a couple of years or a year ago or something. So I started catching up.
I think it either is or was on Netflix still.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't remember. But yeah.
But yeah, I think that story, like the way it plays out, the way his character evolves throughout the whole thing, and he tries to maintain his normal life and then his true life or whatnot. The way he wants to be, but he keeps himself to a code as well as he can. And a lot of his problem solving is really fun. It's like one of those intense thrillers where they're good at puzzles and whatnot.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you said you're on the 7th season right now, so there has to be at least 8.
Yeah.
They made 8 seasons interesting out of a serial killer, where like most movies that try to do that, like you lose interest, halfway through.
Yeah.
So
halfway through the first movie, you're like, well, okay.
Yeah. So I absolutely agree that Dexter, while hyped up, like people are like, oh my god, Dexter, but that was earned. Like it was a really fucking good series.
Yeah. And like I said, I've never watched it. It's not because I don't think the concept is great, because it is. It's really cool, but I just never got to it, and I just don't feel like I'm gonna be able to go back and watch it.
That's really
It'd be hard to dedicate that much time.
Yeah.
Really.
So
it's definitely a lot of time to dedicate to a show.
It's just like Breaking Bad. Everybody's like, you have to watch this. You can't believe you haven't watched it. Or like The Walking Dead. I'm like,
I've seen 0 Walking Dead and like 2 episodes of Breaking Bad.
Yeah. I've seen like bits and pieces of Breaking Bad, like walking in, like somebody else watching it, and they're like, do you watch this? And I'm like, no. And they're like, okay, cool, you can stay and watch then. I'm not going to spoil anything. And I'm like, okay, well, oh, great.
All right,
what if I watched it? Oh, cool, that guy just got blown up. What happened? Why did that happen? So.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's kind of what we were talking about last week too, with the video games, is like, there's so many good video games, but it's so hard to
so many.
we're all adults. Obviously, you can hear Bobby has a child. Like,
Yeah, she's sitting right next to me coloring with
it's
a wet erase marker on paper. So
it's very difficult to catch up on something that you don't like get invested in right away.
yeah,
The
for
stuff
sure.
that you get invested in right away, it's easy because it's just, like Game of Thrones. It's once a week for an hour. That's
Yeah.
easy. But if you were just now to get into Game of Thrones and watch all those past episodes, like you're not going to do it.
Yeah, you'd literally be watching Game of Thrones for 2 weeks straight.
Sarah's going to come into your room and be like, Bobby, are you ready to go outside? You'd be like, no.
My precious, my precious.
When do the dragons come?
With the dragons, they're coming. Wiener, wiener,
but yeah, that's
wiener,
a solid
wiener,
choice.
wiener, 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 wiener.
Oh, dog.
Dogs.
All right.
Yeah, we're just getting invaded by
Yep.
babies and dogs.
I think probably my favorite season is the second one when he's going head to head to the only guy that thinks he's odd, and it's one of his coworkers in the cop station. So I think that's probably my favorite season, just like from all the parts of all their interactions throughout that one. Or I'd say that's my top spot. I think the first 4 seasons were some of the best, and then 5, 6, and 7 were good, but they weren't as good. I don't know about 8, obviously, and 7. Well, I mean 7. I'm still in the middle, so I fully don't know. But I think the first half of it has been a lot better than the second half. I think that's why.
Yeah, but I think that's just because like they kind of knew what they wanted to do, and they had a lot of ideas. And then by the time like season 5, 6 rolls around, they know how they want to end it, and they're just kind of trying to come up with stuff to get it there.
Yeah.
It's got to be hard to run 8 seasons of a show.
Yeah. Where
It's got to be hard to run 8 seasons of any kind of show, like ever.
Yeah.
Like, think about it. You have to write.
You're going to have filler episodes for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
definitely.
Go.
Yeah, so I think that's probably been one of my favorite story shows and good narrative throughout the show. Like, yeah, that's what I got.
Solid choice.
Solid choice from what I hear.
Yeah,
I heard it was a solid choice.
nice.
Hello, Ghost. Welcome to the show. Everybody's just jumping in on this one.
Yeah,
Camera.
we have lots of guest stars.
Yeah, we're just gonna call this one Fun Fact Friday with guests. Guests everywhere.
Yes.
All right, you want to go? Or you want me to go?
I can go.
All right.
All right.
Mine's not gonna be
Pull up
long. Mine's gonna be pretty. Mine's gonna be pretty short.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
we're really good at dragging stuff
Good.
out, so we'll do it.
I have 4 that I want to talk about.
Okay.
Four? Oh, all right.
I'm not gonna go super in depth with all 4 of them, but
Yeah.
it was kind of one of those things where like I couldn't pick a number 1, even though I did. But they're all very, 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 very close. So we kind of already talked about Game of Thrones, and I don't mean to suck Game of Thrones dick any more than it needs to. But like, I'm a nerd. Tyler and Bobby are nerds. Like, we grew up reading Lord of the Rings books.
Uh-huh.
And what is Game of Thrones? It's fucking dragons. It's magic. It's armies. It's, fucking titties. Like it kind of plays into everything that we are about. It's super, super, super nerdy, but done in such a excellent way where it's actually like tangible to the general public. People who aren't into D&D and Lord of the Rings and like basically kind of 80s fantasy style nerdiness.
Yeah.
They can still appreciate it because the stories are told so well. And Game of Thrones is on its, I don't know what season we're at now. I think it's 6 or 7.
Is this the last one?
No, this Sunday is the last episode for this season, and then next season only has, I think, like 5 episodes, but they're all like...
Oh, this is they're doing that like split season bullshit.
Yeah.
I hate that. That doesn't count as 2 seasons.
But
Just so
supposedly
you know.
next season is supposed to be like longer, more in-depth episodes. But
I
don't
think
get me
they said,
wrong.
like,
I would
2
argue that
hour
this
long.
is the best season that Game of Thrones has had since like season 2. But they're already past the books, so they're just creating everything on their own now.
Yeah.
this is outside of George R. Martin's universe. But I've read the book.
How funny is it that like George Martin kind of like stole Lord of the Rings from J.R.R. Tolkien and then used the R.R. in his name? Like, not only could you come up with like a super original concept, you also stole his fucking initials, bro.
Yeah. But no, Game of Thrones, I mean, there's so many like side stories going on all the time that there's not like anything in particular that really makes me like it. It's just like, it's just entertaining. Like almost no episodes are ever stagnant. Even like the filler episodes still give you so much story.
Yeah.
I do wish that they had stuck, I'm trying to phrase this in a way where I'm not going to like spoil anything. I kind of wish that they had stuck more with George's storylines for some of the characters, because they kind of eliminated certain things. Like there's certain character development where people die and come back. That is much more interesting in the books than they've done in the series. Some of the people they don't even touch on.
I feel like I know what you're talking about. I mean, I've seen the first season of Game of Thrones, but I know all of the spoilers. I feel like if you don't know what you're talking, like what Taylor's talking about at this point, you're probably not going to catch up. Like,
yeah,
I feel like as long as you don't talk about anything that's going on in the current season, I think computer noises. I think it'll be okay. So we can talk about Jon Snow.
Well, not necessarily him. Because again, I'm not trying to spoil anything, but because I don't even know if they're touch on it. But Catelyn Stark,
okay.
In the books, she gets her throat slit, but she comes back to life. His uncle Benjen, they touch on it again in the show, but Uncle Benjen becomes Cold Hands. So they're people who have died, and the White Walkers are basically zombies. Just think of them that way. You get killed and you come back as like a snow zombie. So there's people who die, but they don't come back as that. There's a lot of resurrection in George's novels. So I don't know. Like the books, in my opinion, are a lot cooler, a lot more fantasy than the show. But I understand the route that the show has taken, because they do, like I said, need to appeal to a larger audience of not just a bunch of fucking nerds like us.
Yeah.
So, whatever. Game of Thrones, I would consider them to be an honorable mention. Hell on Wheels is another honorable mention. I'm not sure if you guys have seen that show.
Yeah.
Never even heard of it.
I'm in the middle of season 5.
Season 5?
Yeah.
It's on AMC, and it basically follows this guy who was on the southern side of the Civil War. For those of you that don't pay attention in history class, those were the ones that liked slavery. But he himself chose to keep his slaves on board, but to hire them. So he was like, hey, if you want to keep working for me, I'll pay you, but you're no longer like endowed to me. Like I'm not going to, whip you, get free labor out of you. But if you'd like to keep working for my family on this plantation, I will give you fair wages. And due to that mindset, his wife and kid got killed. And so this whole story, I mean, there's so much that goes on, but the story starts out with basically him trying to track down all of the generals and all of the people that were involved in raiding his home and killing his wife and kid. And it's one of those shows where no one's really safe. A lot of the main characters do die off, but then there's also main characters that should die that don't. But if you're at all interested in like Wild Wild West, TV series, no dragons, no dicks, like Game of Thrones.
Wiener.
But it's definitely more of a mature show. Slow paced, but when the drama builds up, it's really intense. And it's just so incredibly well told. So Hell on Wheels is definitely one of my top favorite shows.
Cool.
My lights just went out a little bit.
Oh.
But that actually might make the lighting look better.
You always look good. That's what I say.
Right. Okay, next one. Peaky Blinders. Have you guys ever watched Peaky Blinders?
Peaky Blinders?
No. Never.
Peaky Blinders.
Never even heard of that.
It's you guys have seen the movie Gangs of New York, right?
Yeah.
So this is kind of like that same era. It's about an Irish family, and they're, basically mob bosses trying to control stuff. And again, I don't want to go too in depth because I don't want to spoil too much about it. I think it's a Netflix original series. I think. Excuse me. I haven't had Netflix in like 8 months.
I think baby took my phone. Otherwise, I'd look it up and let you know. But the child stole my phone and ran away.
So Peaky Blinders is basically about a group of brothers. One of them's like an alcoholic. One of them's a fighter. One of them is the main businessman. They're super into gambling and basically trying to take control of the turf. There's other Irish groups that get involved. Really, I don't want to say really gory, but there's a lot of violence in it, a lot of people dying, and how do I hype it up without spoiling anything? Like if you're at all interested in like the industrial era here in the United States, and kind of what happened when Irish people were oppressed when they first moved to the United States, because I don't know how many people watching this will actually know, but Irish people were discriminated against, basically looked down on just the same as like Hispanics or black people, like they were thought of lesser than. So this is basically a series about these guys trying to, a series, not a series. Basically trying to make money in the early United States. So super, super interesting.
It's got Tom Hardy in it.
Yeah.
I like him a lot.
It actually has a pretty surprisingly big cast for how little attention it gets. I would say that the reason I brought up Peaky Blinders is because I think it's one of the most slept on series. Like both of you didn't know about it, but I guarantee if both of you watched it, you would love it.
It sounds awesome.
Yeah, I think
It's just on a hype train, but it is really, really, really fucking good.
I think I've passed it a bunch of times when looking for shows, so I might actually have to go back and watch this.
Yeah, it looks great.
I think
Plus, it's
10 out of 10 would recommend.
I don't think it's far enough to where it would take me forever to catch up.
No, I think they're only on the 3rd season.
That's what it's looking
like.
like.
The last episode was season 3, episode 6 in June.
So. Okay, yeah. No, it's it doesn't. There's a lot more delay.
Hi, Monkey. Welcome back.
With the frequency of the episodes.
Hey, your lights do not like you.
Yeah.
Freaking out. So Peaky Blinders, definitely a sleeper series. I would watch it. And number one, and I went into this series thinking that, speaking of hype trains, thinking that it was going to be overhyped, and I was just going to be like, yeah, this is good, but it's really not that good. But I fell in love with it. Is Stranger Things.
Mm.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Again, another show. I'm 0 episodes in.
You have to watch it. It is so good.
Make me so crazy when you tell me that every time. Every time I'm like, how could you have not seen at least one by now?
You have to watch it. It mixes so many cool things together. Yeah. It's basically like the 80s wrapped up into a series, but all the main characters are kids. These kid actors are so fucking good.
Yeah.
If you watch a movie with Brad Pitt, right, you have a certain expectation of how good the movie's going to be because Brad Pitt is a really good actor. But these are 13-year-old kids or something? Like they're all young, and I'm sure that you've seen a lot of movies with kid actors that just fucking suck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, Stranger Things it's so good. The concept is so interesting. The musical score throughout the whole series is so interesting. It was one of those don't get me wrong. I watch the new episode of Game of Thrones every Sunday as soon as it comes out. But I go into it with I'm excited. I'm going to have a nice beer and watch it. Yeah. But it was like Stranger Things. I was like, I need the next episode right now. Like,
What do you mean I have to
fucking-
wait 30 seconds for the credits to roll? I'm pushing X or A or
No,
whatever. Yeah.
I was an addict, dude. I would
Yeah.
watch that. I would watch that first season like 4 more times easily and be just as stoked. Maybe the 5th time I'd start to be like, okay, I know what's going on.
Like,
But-
okay, no, I get it.
But
Yeah.
yeah, Stranger Things is my number 1.
Yeah, Stranger Things is great.
Well, I guess I need to watch it.
You
some
say that all the
point.
time. I'm not convinced you're ever actually going to do it.
Well,
Just do it.
I haven't seen anything of Game of Thrones. I actually brought that up at work. I was like, I've seen nothing of Game of Thrones, and one of my coworkers was like, "What's Game of Thrones?" I'm like, "You haven't even heard about it, so
You're
I
like-
don't feel that
You're like,
bad."
all right. We
But
can hang out. We're
Tyler's
cool.
remark was like when you run into like a high school acquaintance at a bar,
Hmm.
and you're like, hey man, nice to see you. Oh yeah, nice to see you too. What are you doing? Oh, I'm doing this and this and this. We should totally get together. And you're like, yeah, let me get
You
your
found your
number.
money?
You guys exchange numbers, and then nothing ever happens. Like, I feel like that's Tyler towards Game of Thrones and Stranger Things. So it's like, yeah, we'll watch you.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
you-
I'll get it.
You're like, nah, fuck that. Like,
Oh, you ever gonna call that guy? Nah,
Nah.
he was an asshole.
Yeah,
I don't even remember who that is.
Yeah. What's his name? Steve? Frank? I don't know.
It's,
we should totally get together. Yeah, man, I'm down. And you never talk to each other again.
Yep.
Yeah. Maybe with some shows, I kind of with. I don't know if I'm gonna do it with Game of Thrones, but with Stranger Things, I think it's like one of like backlog of shows. It's one
Yeah.
of those ones that are like
Well, they've only had 1 season.
I
Yeah.
know, but with
That was
what
super-
we're watching right now, I need to get through 14 more episodes before I
enough.
should jump into something else.
True. I should really
Yeah.
finish that too. Yeah. No, Stranger. Those were all really good.
Yeah.
Well, 3 out of the 4 of those are really good. Fuck Game of Thrones. It's stupid.
I mean, I respect your opinion, but I don't understand it. Like,
Oh no, I watched.
I don't get what you couldn't like about Game of Thrones.
I binge watched the first season in one day. So I
Oh.
mean, it's not that I don't like it. It's just
It's a lot.
yeah, it's just too much. It was
Yeah.
great. I loved it all the way up until they killed what's his name?
Sean
Dies-
Bean.
Yeah,
The
they killed.
guy.
He dies in all of his movies
Oh, cool.
and all of his
All of
shows.
it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Which I kind of thought was fucked up with the marketing when that first season came out. He was like front and center of every poster.
Yeah.
Everyone thought he was going to be a main character, and then he's like, oh, he's fucking dead.
What?
Okay,
What's wrong? Go see. Go ask mommy.
But
Is that Minnie? Where Minnie's right in your hands. I can still see her.
Minnie
Now she's
disappeared.
gone. I don't know. I can't see you either. You're behind the green screen.
She's
invisible.
disappeared.
I kind of feel like Game of Thrones is almost like Lost, though. Where, like,
Okay,
if you
yeah.
didn't watch Lost from the first episode of the first season, like, it's really hard to give a shit.
Yeah, for sure.
I
We
hadn't
got
seen-
sidetracked by Charles
Yes.
again.
Sorry about that. I hadn't seen any of Lost until maybe a month ago. Like I hadn't watched anything. Emily was watching it, so I started like I think midway into season 2. So I actually wanted to go back and start it from the beginning, but again, another thing on the backlog.
Yeah.
Lost had such a cool concept, like the first couple seasons, how they were building everything up, and then I felt like it just got so stagnant.
Well,
And even the writers admitted, like we didn't know, like we didn't know
Yeah.
where we were going, how everything
Well-
was going to end.
it was because everybody guessed what the ending was. Like in the second season, they're like, "Well, like, this is what's happening," and then they were like, "No, watch us do all this stuff. This is how it's not ending that way," and then it still ended the same way everybody knew it was. So. I think that was where Lost went wrong. They were like, "We don't know what to do anymore because you already know what's happening." So
I forget what the character's name was, and this is such a petty
Shoo
reason
Poo?
for me to like
will you go
Not-
show mommy?
give a shit about a series anymore. Guys, hey, calm down.
All sorts
Go
of
show mommy.
distractions.
I know there's so much going on right now. I don't know. Is there actually somebody at my door?
There might be.
I don't know. What was he saying?
He was talking about
Mommy?
something in Lost.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so honestly, the main reason why I stopped watching Lost, and again, I forget the character's name, there's this one dude and his son gets like taken over by other people who have lived on the island already. And every episode of that season, he was just like, they have my son. Like his character was so one-dimensional, and his whole motivation was so one-dimensional. Where I was just like, I get it. They have your son.
It was like,
Go do something about it.
You know, show some other characters doing something else. But he was just like that's my son. They have my son. Okay, whatever. This is boring now.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Well,
Maybe.
I guess I'll shoot mine.
All right.
My honorable mention is actually, again, I did the thing where I switched. I guess I have three that I want to mention. The first one is actually going to be the one that I was going to talk about. It's Boardwalk Empire. Boardwalk Empire is a story of essentially of how Al Capone rose to power in, you know, the time and era that he was the king badass guy.
Yeah.
And just the story behind it and the way that they lead up to Al Capone, because in even everybody's like, it's the story of Al Capone, story of Al Capone. Al Capone's not in it until the last season and a half.
Huh.
So it runs. I think it's
Involved.
the what?
He is actually involved, though.
Yeah. He's behind the scenes most of the time, but they still talk about him. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, the last season, they're just Al Capone's just running everything, and you're like, where did you come from? But yeah, Boardwalk Empire is probably one of the greatest shows I've ever seen. It was one of the first shows, one of the last shows, I guess, that I actually watched from beginning to end. So that's that was my original number one, but now it's become an honorable mention because I thought deeper on it. Another honorable mention that I want to throw out there is that show The Dinosaurs from the super early 90s, where it was they were like puppets. The only reason I'm doing that one is because it was a show that my family all watched together, so it's it's more like a personal thing.
Yeah.
But the show that I do want to talk about is Star Trek: The Next Generation. Again, it's more of a family thing. It's something we all used to sit down and watch together. But when I think back on where I went right as a nerdy person, and it kind of all starts with Star Trek. And it all starts with The Next Generation, because that was one of the first ones I actually started watching and paying attention to. What happened?
It was just a little quiet in my headphone. I wasn't sure if my headphone disconnected.
Probably.
Yeah.
But it was just something that it was the first show that I actually sat down and watched all the time and followed and knew what was going on. I knew everything about Captain Picard. I knew everything about Worf, and I knew everything about the whole crew. And it was the first time that's ever happened to me, so I was kind of when I was thinking about it, I was like, it's Boardwalk Empire, easily. But then I thought deeper on it, and I was like, no, I think in my heart it's more Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yeah.
And I watched all of them. I watched the original with Captain Kirk, and I watched Deep Space Nine. I watched Voyager. Even the bad one. What was the bad one called that no one liked?
I don't know.
I can't remember. But I think it's got I can't remember the actor now. I know his face, but I'm not going to spend time trying to remember it without without my phone trying to look it up. So but yeah, and then just the way that it all went down, and then when the Borg showed up, and there was that whole what was the movie called? Star Trek: Deep Impact, I think, where they fought the Borg and the crazy Borg lady, and then that one episode where Captain Picard becomes Borg, and you're like, wait, what? No, you can't. Why? What are you talking about? What are you doing? It ruined Discovery, Star Trek Discovery. Thank you. It's got Scott Bakula. That was who I was thinking of. Or is that the new one?
This might be a new one.
That's
Maybe
the
it's
new one. Okay, no, it's not that one. But it's got Scott Bakula in it. Now I remembered now. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know.
Fun?
Another one I guess I want to throw out there now that I've seen my Blu-ray collection that's right over here that I see is fucking Firefly.
It's in the living room.
Firefly was a great show.
I don't know if I actually saw that.
Yeah, Firefly and Serenity.
I never saw that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm leaving this
There's
podcast.
so many shows I haven't watched.
I'm just gonna give you the movie and the show right now. Just take
Well,
this
see, that's
with
the
you.
tough thing is there's so many good shows, and I feel like if any of us like swapped our lists around and we had watched, the same series, like
Nemesis,
we would be
that was
just
the
as
movie.
into it as anybody else. It's just
Maybe it's Insurrection. I don't know.
it's tough, like really
This one.
dedicating yourself to watching a full series.
Yeah,
So-
for sure. Yeah, I guess it was just Enterprise. Enterprise was the bad one with Scott Bakula, but
I mean, I'm sure if one of us had watched like every episode of Friends, we would have listed it here, but I don't think any of us did.
something, something, something gonna be this way. Yeah, I know people that watched all the episodes of Friends and they quote it to me all the time, and I'm like, yeah, no, I don't get it.
I got no.
I watch.
I mean, the episodes of Friends that I watched, I enjoyed.
Yeah, no, I loved watching Friends, but I didn't watch all of them. I watched Friends when I was homesick from school because it came on after The Price is Right. I'd sit around home, watch The Price is Right, and then fucking Friends would come on afterwards, and I'd be like, oh, okay, I can dig it. But that was the only Friends that I ever watched. I never sat down and watched all of them, so.
Yeah, I think the only time I ever watched Friends was when like somebody else at my house was watching it. Otherwise, I would put it on almost anything else if I had control of the remote.
What? What's wrong? Do you want to come up here and sit on the table?
No.
No? Okay.
Okay.
You want up on the table? Boing.
Boing.
Hey, Dad.
Those
My
are
my dad was super into the Big Bang Theory like a couple years ago, and all that I knew about the Big Bang Theory was that dude saying
Go get your
Bazinga,
diaper changed. Go with mommy.
and it just seemed like such a shallow concept for a show to me. Like it was like a '90s style show where there's just like one guy saying something funny, and that's what it was all based on, and like that's kind of how my dad described it to me. But when I actually watched The Big Bang Theory, I learned to like it. I don't know if you guys have watched it, but like
Yeah, I've
it's
watched.
actually
I've watched random episodes. I do like it a lot. I kind of wish I would watch it like all the way through, but if I ever get a chance to like watch an episode, I will.
It just reminds me. I've been listening to the Adventure Zone a lot. It's a podcast done by the McElroys, and their dad, because they play D&D, and anytime they mention something that even remotely resembles something in the Big Bang Theory, he's like, "Oh, like the Big Bang Theory," and they're like, "You can't keep mentioning that show on this podcast."
are those
So it just
are
made
those
me
the
laugh.
ones the guys that you played that podcast for me when we went to get In and Out?
Yeah. When I was playing you that first episode, yeah. The Adventure Zone. It's great. They just ended their whole campaign. I'm not going to whore them out because they have millions of listeners. So
Oh, okay.
if you're listening to this, you probably have already heard of them and have listened to that whole thing. So
I'm gonna throw something out real quick.
Okay.
I kind of feel like Dungeons and Dragons is gonna come back and be a really cool thing because just this last week on Twitter, I've seen people's names starting to reference Dungeons and Dragons. The funniest one, which I will give them credit for, was Dungeons and Daddies. But
that's
I,
pretty good.
I feel like it's, you know how trends go, like where something is so lame that it becomes cool. I kind of feel like everyone's gonna try to start being like, oh yeah, I love Dungeons and Dragons, totally.
Yeah,
I'll RP that.
Dude, I played that. I rolled that dodecahedron. Like I rolled that thing hella good.
Yeah, like wizards, dude. I'm gonna cast some spells. Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
No.
dude, totally, bro. How many cantrips do you know?
I'm just throwing this out there right now. I'm not gonna be surprised if that's like the next cool thing.
Yeah, I want to start a D&D podcast along with this one.
That'd be fun.
Yeah,
Just
just a
it's frustrating because we know how cool this shit is.
Yeah.
And we got made fun of it for so long.
Yeah.
We're like,
Yeah.
no, it's awesome. It was like, whatever, nerd. And then like,
you go play wizards and
yeah, like as much as I appreciate like people, learning about that type of culture and coming into it, it's like, dude, I'm the biggest, saltiest fucking slug about Pokemon. And like when Pokemon Go came out, first of all, it's pronounced Pokemon, not Pokemon. It's
Yeah.
Pokemon. There's
Pokemon.
an accent above the E.
Pokemon.
But the amount of people that like for years, I wouldn't talk to my friends about Pokemon because they would just make fun of me. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey dude, do you play Pokemon Go? Like, what does this Pokemon evolve into? Or they would say, what does this Pokemon evolve into? And I was just like
it evolves into stop fucking playing.
Yeah. They're like, hang on, if you're really into it, let me show you how to breed Pokemon.
Yeah.
Let me show you about EVs and IVs and egg moves and like competitive battling. And guess what? There's something called a shiny Pokemon. They're like, oh yeah, I got a shiny Pikachu. It's like,
hate you. Hashtag hate you a lot. Yeah.
oh yeah, I got that super rare shiny Magikarp that I evolved into a Gyarados. It's like, no, everyone got that fucking Gyarados. It's in the game, like you get it automatically.
Yeah, when like for the longest time, people were saying like they were calling him Gyarados, and I was like, don't say that. Don't say it like that. That's not how it's pronounced. Oh yeah, dude, it's a Y. It's Gyarados.
Those are the same people that pronounce a euro a gyro.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, there's any number of things that people mispronounce.
Yeah.
We're getting super off topic here.
Yeah, that's what we do. That's what we're good at. We just like
there's
yeah.
There's this Hawaiian food truck that I go to in June Lake.
Speaking of that topic,
and raw tuna, the way that they prepare it is called poke. That's just how it's pronounced.
Yeah.
And the amount of times that I'm behind someone that comes up and be like, "I'll take 4 poke bowls," like.
Yeah, there's a new restaurant in Reno.
You try.
Yeah, there's a new restaurant in Reno that does that. It's a
Poke King.
Poke King, yeah. Mm-hmm. I was like, God, well, I know it's Poke something. I just can't remember what it is. But yeah, there's a new restaurant in Reno that does that, and it's so fucking good. Horn out Poke King, go eat that bowl. Fuck.
Hey, I should have my truck. I don't know if it's appropriate to talk about during the podcast. I might be coming to Reno again soon.
Okay, yeah, just let me know, and we'll figure it out, and we'll get together.
Yeah, like I think within this week.
Touch tips.
Okay.
Oh.
There we go.
Oh, the Triforce of tip touching. We've done it. I mean, Taylor's not here, but you get the idea.
How did you guys try touch tips?
That's pretty good.
That is pretty good. I just did. I know there's a way you can make the Triforce with your fingers. I just don't know how to do it. But
I should know this.
I was just touching my 2 fingers together, and he just came up on top. So.
Okay. That works.
Does that make me sound gay? Anyway,
please look into the TV shows if you have time that we've talked about. I guarantee any of the ones that we've talked about, you would get obsessed with if you really take the time to watch. They're all everything that you guys both brought up. I was like, yeah, I definitely can see that.
Yeah, for sure. Is there anything else we want to touch on, like food wise, or I mean, while we're talking about nonsense?
No, I don't think so.
It's pronounced pho, not pho.
I say pho just to bother people. Just throwing that out there. Sarah, like, you want to get some pho? And I'm like, yeah, let's go get some pho. So,
yeah, I'm down for some pho.
It's pronounced pho. Oh, cool. Why is there an O then? Should be an A. But yeah, So yeah, I think we did it.
Yeah,
I think we're good. I'm satisfied. We talked about some shows. We did some stuff. Mm-hmm. Got off topic. We had some guest stars.
Yeah, multiple times.
I feel like we've done our job, our due diligence.
This has been episode 65.
Wait, real quick.
Well,
real quick.
The last note with Taylor Eastman.
To whoever thought that I was disrespecting Kingdom Hearts by saying that Call of Duty had a good storyline, I was comparing apples to oranges. They're both great. Neither one is better than the other. Just me personally, I drived more with the Call of Duty one because Kingdom Hearts is so complicated. It is still phenomenal. But like this is a good beer, and this charges my phone. Neither of them is the other. They both serve a purpose.
Yep, he's talking to you, Corey. So when you listen to this, I'm sure you'll have a rebuttal.
Last thing. You guys buy your Did you guys buy your lotto tickets for tonight?
No.
Yeah.
Powerball, $700 million?
Yeah.
My plan is if I win, I will give every single one of our Patreons 10 grand.
So that's one person.
Well, then he's making 10 fucking grand.
Yep. All right.
Either way.
There you go.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah. He wins.
Yeah.
So there you have
Wins.
it. Support us on Patreon. Maybe you'll win $10,000. Yeah, this has been episode 65.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can get hold of us at generalnerdcast@gmail.com. We have a Facebook page, General Nerdcast. Also a Twitter at General Nerdcast. Like we were talking about earlier, patreon.com/General Nerdcast. If you want to help us expand, do more stuff, make a better show, you can do that
Like 10
there.
grand?
Yeah, make $10,000 if Taylor wins Powerball.
Yeah. YouTube,
YouTube,
General
thank you.
Nerdcast.
Yeah.
Like, subscribe on all of them.
It helps out
Comments.
tremendously.
Let us know what you would like to hear. What was your favorite shows? What stories really made you fall in love with the show or brought you into other stuff and into the universe of whatever you watch?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything you guys would like us to talk about?
Let us know.
Yeah.
We're listening.
And
Anyway.
because I don't remember if we did it at the beginning. Bobby, I feel like we missed it.
I feel like we didn't talk about us. We talked about Taylor and Alice.
Yeah.
I think we missed Bobby and Tyler.
Bobby, Tyler, Taylor,
Bobby, Tyler,
Alice, Dinah, Ghost, and
Weird Purple Bunny.
Weird Purple Bunny.
He's very soft.
Did your other dog appear? I don't remember.
Luna?
Luna?
I feel like my cheek feels kind of sore. I feel like she may have popped me.
Okay. Lots of guest stars.
She just walked in and smacked you and then walked away. Well, if you
What's up, bitch?
thanks for the food. If you listen to us in the morning, hope you have a great morning, great rest of your day. This afternoon, hope you have a great Alice time. Hope you have a great rest. I hope you had a great morning and a great rest of your day. Listen to us in the evening. Do it while you're eating dessert, so we can fill your sweet ears with great things, and you can fill your mouth with sweet treats. Listening to us right before you go to bed. I hope you have a great night and full 8 hours and sleep whatever. I'm out
Sleep
here.
whatever.
I'm done.
Smooches.